Hey everyone, Loaded Buggy here, back with another Call of Duty Black Ops 1 gameplay commentary for you. And I've been thinking a lot lately, and not just lately, but for the entirety of my YouTube career so far, about how good we really had it in this era of gaming. I look at some of the games that come out nowadays, and at the time of recording this, Dragon Age Veilguard has just come out, and it kind of disappoints me because I feel like there's less care that is being taken and less consideration in the crafting and creation of these games, that I feel like we've lost what made gaming great. And I feel like a lot of those qualities are still in the games of old, like what you're seeing in front of you. A lot of the games that were made back in this day, and I won't say all, but a lot of the games that were made back in this day were fun first, or the consumer first. And it translated really well to making absolutely phenomenal games. I talk about the golden age of gaming for me, and the era that I enjoyed the games the most was from the years 2007 to 2015. I think if you look at those years in gaming, you'll find some of the greatest games ever made came out during that time frame. I mean, if you start at the beginning, 2007, you have Halo 3. If you jump forward a little bit to like 2011, you have Dark Souls 1. Or right in front of you have 2010, and you've got Black Ops 1. Or 2008 even, Assassin's Creed 2. Like, I could name a phenomenal, absolutely incredible game that came out every single year from that era that I just mentioned. And although we have amazing games that do come out nowadays, I always bring up Baldur's Gate 3, and that's just one of many that are absolutely phenomenal games that have come out lately that have been truly incredible. I could name a bunch of others. Elden Ring is another phenomenal game. God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Zero Dawn. There's just amazing games that are coming out in the modern age, but I feel like there's also a lot more slop that gets released nowadays too, and a lot of the big name publishers tend to be pushing a certain narrative within their games that just doesn't translate well. And I'm the type of person that, regardless of my political views or personal views, I don't want to see that or my own views in gaming, period. Especially when we're talking about Dragon Age Veilguard, there is a lot of political and social ideology that is being pushed in that game that wasn't there to the degree that it is in this new game. It wasn't there or wasn't really present in the old games. Now, yes, LGBTQ themes were present in the older Dragon Age games, but they were handled with a little bit more tact. They weren't shoved down your throat. They were an option, and Baldur's Gate 3 does the exact same thing, where if you want to be a trans person or a non-binary person or whatever it is in Baldur's Gate 3, you do have that option, but it's not shoved down your throat. You have the choice. And I think that is fine. I think that's an exception to the rule. I think it's great to have choice and representation in gaming. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But what I don't want is a certain far-right or far-left narrative to be pushed and not really an option within the game. Like, I don't want my Call of Duty to have a King Trump DLC built into the game. I just don't. In the same way that I wouldn't want a Queen Kamala Harris built into the game either. I just don't want that present in my game. I use gaming as a means to escape the real life, and whenever we're shoving political ideals into games, it takes me out of the fantasy or fictional element of these games, and it just ends up frustrating me, whether it's right or left, politically speaking anyway. I just don't want it in my games. I want my fantasy to be fantasy. And if you want romance to be present in your game, then you give the player the choice to engage in whatever that is. If it's LGBTQ, if it's straight, whatever it is, you give them the choice. You can decline it. You can just not encounter it depending on your dialogue options. Like, there are many ways that you can design a game where it's not forced down your throat, and it can be done tastefully. Baldur's Gate 3 is a great example of that. Mass Effect is a great example of that. Dragon Age 1, Dragon Age Inquisition, all great examples of how you can handle political ideas and political topics without forcing it down the consumer's throat. It's there for the people who want to enjoy it, And if those of us like myself don't want to have to deal with that or encounter anything like that in our games, we can just navigate around it. But what frustrates me is whenever it's just pushed to the forefront and it's a focal point of the game. I mean, if you go to Steam and you search Dragon Age Veilguard, one of the first things in terms of its tags is LGBTQ+. And that's not really what I want to see in a storied franchise like Dragon Age, taking it and making it something that it wasn't quite before. Like I said, yes, there was LGBTQ themes in the previous Dragon Age games, absolutely. But that wasn't one of the primary tags and explanations of what the game is, like it is for the new game. And that's just a bit frustrating from the consumer aspect. I don't want any narrative shoved down my throat, unless that's what the game is all about, and this is a fresh idea, a fresh IP, this is what you want to craft your game around, then so be it. You do that. I can choose not to buy it, but it does frustrate me whenever it's a beloved franchise that doesn't have those themes pushed to the forefront, and now we're morphing it and making it something that it isn't. I want neutral ground. So hopefully you guys can understand where I'm coming from, and maybe you guys have the same feelings of me, or you have the complete opposite feelings of me as me. If you enjoy this type of content, you want to see more from me, please click the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and leave a comment down below with any feedback you have regarding this topic or future topics you'd like me to talk about in the future. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.